I am Thor, son of Odin, and as long as there is life in my breast, I am running out of things to say.
Great, another broken white boy for us to fix.
That's my secret, Cat. I'm always angry.
You took everything from me.
I don't even know who you are. With great power comes great responsibility. I can do this all day.
Wakanda Forever!
And welcome, Internet, to another episode of Views from the 616, the blackest MCU podcast in the multiverse, powered by ForAllNerds, where we discuss everything in the MCU from the perspective of people of color. I had to slow it down because that fire had to hold it with some kid gloves, man. But I am one of your hosts, Tatiana King, a.k.a. the Book of Ashanti, a.k.a. T'Challa Bread, a.k.a. Doc Aki, a.k.a. Clan Destiny's Child, a.k.a. Tesseract Thompson, and the coldest winter soldier ever, here with my amazing, incredible, stupendous co-host.
It's your boy DJ Ben Amin, a.k.a. Dr. Whose Mans is this? Master Splinter Cell, Trinidad Bane. Keep that same energy on when you see me. Arsenio Holodeck, a Wakandan werewolf in London, Wakabi's lost conscience, and just Wakabi's just lost right now. So
Wakabi doesn't exist.
I mean, my man's, he's seen better times. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
But
yes, we are here because we are wanting to give you our review, our no spoiler review of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, directed by D. Ryan Coogler, with lots of incredible names, returning some new people there. You'll see it in the IMDb or just Google Cast. All of them will come up. Overall, I want to just, a couple of things. Should we just do some housekeeping first before we get into the things, or we just want to get into things?
Let's just get into things and we'll do some housekeeping towards the end of this. You know what I mean? This is what the people want. They've been waiting a long time for this movie.
We'll sweep it up later. But yes. All right, so first up, Wakanda Forever, your overall take, Ben Hameen. Just again, before we get into the nitty-gritty, what did you think overall? Did you like the movie? Did you hate the movie? Did you think it was exciting, boring? What did you think?
All right, watching it, I had a lot of different feelings about it. You know what I mean? I was definitely, when I was watching it, I was like, I don't know exactly how I feel about this movie watching it. And then walking out, I definitely said the same thing. And we're going to have a big time spoiler review where I'll get into all that. And I said this on the spoiler review, so I'll say it here. This was like the same feeling I had when I walked out of The Last Jedi, where I was like, what the fuck? Is that Star Wars that I like? That don't feel like the Star Wars that I like. What? Huh? And then I sat home thinking about it, and I was like, oh, there was some ill shit in that movie. And, overall, wow, and there were some visuals. And I was like, and then by the time I saw The Last Jedi again, I thought it was the dopest, Star Wars film. And I was so hyped. I was telling people, wait for this scene. Wait for this. This shit happened. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so it was a lot. And there were so many, like Luke getting, that hurt me. So this was the same thing where it was so many heavy moments. Heavy moments where I didn't know how I felt, but I knew that going in. Like, before going in, I knew I wasn't going to walk out of this movie like, yeah! You know what I mean? Yeah. I knew no matter what. Like, the first Black Panther, I walked out of this movie, like, freeze frame, somebody high-fived me. Yeah! Because that's how I walked out of that first one. And I've got video of it, me, Mellow Marketer, and some other cats like, yeah! Well,
you walked out like, I'm black! I'm
black and you black. Dizzy and shit. Like, we was doing circles and shit. You know what I mean? Finish him. That's how it felt. Like, we was done. But with this one, I was more like, fatality. It wasn't even finish him. It was like, oh, well, you're done.
It's solemn.
Deal with it.
It's a solemn, I will say that. I had a litany of emotions. At the end of the day, it was a solemn. It was solemn. Like, I took a deep breath several times in the opening, and then by the end, I was in tears. You're going to be emotional throughout this film, period.
Yes.
You're going to be emotional. You're going to cry. I don't care about the thug and you and all this other stuff. The thug tears is rolling down the cheeks, okay? Because it's, and I kept using that word earlier, solemn. It is that level of energy there. Now, that isn't to say it's slow. No, it's not. That isn't to say it's the whole thing is sad. No, not at all. It's just that the weights of what this film is representing, not just for us as viewers, but for the cast and of the story of the MCU T'Challa, you feel that weight. And obviously what that means to Ryan Coogler, what that means to, or the memory of Chadwick. You feel that it's palpable. And like, even if you have no idea, I didn't know none of this happened, and the main and Chadwick died. Like, even you had no idea none of that happened, you can tell it's just a different air from the first film. That said, I will say that I thoroughly enjoyed it. My feelings, my overall feelings about things that I didn't like changed over time. Things that bothered me or didn't bother me, like they evolved. And I feel like I want to use that, and I want to use that term because I feel like this is what this film is. This film is an evolution of the first story of the first Black Panther film back in 2018. This is, to me, a more sophisticated, like you can see the growth in the storytelling. You can see the growth in the characterizations. You can see the growth in the acting itself from many of the characters, that the talents are taking it to another level, and that they are elevating that character that they played 4 or 5 years ago, whatever, how many, well, longer for them, right? But that character that they played, they're taking it to an advanced plateau. And I felt that, it was just a more sophisticated story in general.
Yeah, that goes without a doubt. And I think they were headed that way. Ryan Coogler has definitely already talked a lot about what the story would have been, some of the inspirations for this. He has said that the story, if Chadwick had not have passed away, had not have, transformed into the next phase of his existence, it would have been centered around him, and it would have been about what a lot of people wanted to see. What does it mean for him to be king, et cetera, What does it mean for a man to have lost, which I've talked about, the 5 years of his life that he would have lost to the blip, that Wakanda would have gone on without him. So they were already going to deal with a lot of the things that were happening in this film in a way. It just was transformed into a different method because of Chadwick's death. Yeah. And I also thoroughly enjoyed it. Like I said, it was just like Last Jedi, where the first time I saw it, I was like, wow, what was that? That was a lot. It was heavy. But, the action was dope. The characters were obviously dope. I loved the story overall, but it was just a lot. And then now we're about to see it again. We've got Crown Wakanda coming up this week, and I can't fucking wait. Like, I'm gonna be like, yo, it's gonna be so
see it with
lit.
different eyes.
Seeing it with different eyes and seeing it with a different crowd, because I have to say the crowd we saw it with was a bunch of journalists who I just felt were like kind of
they were wild disrespectful.
Disrespectful.
I hope one of the journalists or press or whoever you was who was in there watches this, because you were disrespectful.
Super. And it was just like I don't get this. I'll be real quick about it. I just don't get people pulling out phones, anything else during films. I don't care if you're a journalist. If you are a journalist, bring a notepad and write that shit down, fam. Don't disturb the people around you. End of rant. So, back to the film and back to what Ryan and them had to accomplish. We've talked about this, and we talk about this on the spoiler. To us, we feel that this was really a no-win situation going in, right? And we're about to get into the whole nitty-gritty of why. Because, one, Chadwick passed. That is the reality. You know what I mean? That's the first thing that everyone has to deal with. And with that, the people making this film have to deal with that. While we are all on the outside and don't know him, did not work with him, all have opinions about this, they all worked with him, knew him, loved him, might have been very close friends. Who knows what their relationships were like with this man. And they had to make a movie without him. So they had to figure that out. So now, Ryan has said that, now he's also said this because I'm sure people have addressed him about Recast T'Challa, etc. And Ryan has said that never once was that a thought. He said that he would have rather, and Marvel would have agreed to cancel the film rather than recast someone in the role of Chadwick.
Yeah. And I mean, this goes about like what Ben saying, the people who are behind the scenes, like the cast and crew, what they have to deal with. And it's also within the story of this film. It's about grief.
Yes.
That is it's not the only thing, but it's the overarching theme throughout from beginning to end. Grief and how people deal or don't deal with it, and how the mechanics behind it. So it's a, while there's grief built into the film, there's also the real life grief.
Yes.
And as you say, how different people deal with it, whether that's wanting to recast him, not wanting to recast him, and things of that nature, and continuing down that line.
Yeah, and continuing down that line, that has always been my argument and one of my biggest problems and my biggest disgust with the Recast T'Challa movement was once it turned from people voicing their opinions about wanting to see the role of T'Challa recast so we could continue seeing stories in the 616, because we will always see stories of T'Challa being told. But of stories being told in the 616 of T'Challa specifically, and not of Wakanda as a whole, which is something that I felt people missed from the first film, because the first film was really about Wakanda as a whole. And I actually didn't see that people had a problem with that until the idea of T'Challa was removed. And then suddenly Nate Moore and Ryan Coogler don't know what they're doing, and they're not black enough, because they don't know what to do with the character, because they sidelined him in the first film and they nerfed him in the first film. And we actually need a director who's in there who knows what they're doing, and not a black man who has to work in Hollywood and deal with the pressures of the Hollywood corporate system. That's crazy. Then turned around a $1 billion plus film that delivered and turned T'Challa and the world of Wakanda into iconic household names. No, we need to replace those two black men. Is that, and, that's what I start hearing from the peanut gallery.
Yeah. And unfortunately, we because of our conversations with the E-Man and all this stuff, we know that's not what's in his original intention. But unfortunately, the movement got co-opted. Yes. And by the whether they're the what's the word? They're the minority. They were the loud vocal minority.
And they always
that was carrying that banner. And unfortunately, that sullied what the original intent of the movement was. And E-Man, go watch our videos that we've had with him. When you watch the film, go watch our
spoiler review.
Spoiler review. And he expresses that. He says, look, that's never been, and he has been vocal to say, yo, that's not what this movement is about. And that's not what the goal ever was. So I just want to make that distinction there, because just in case people don't get there right there, we're not rehashing stuff. We're just letting you know there's been a co-opt of the. I don't even know what the word is, but the movement had been co-opted by the wrong people.
And I'll even say that it wasn't a co-opting of it. And we addressed this with E-Man. That was the problem with the movement in the first place, is that when you create these movements, you are immediately inviting them to be co-opted by anyone. And that was a problem that I had with the movement, because as Ryan Coogler stated, we were either going to cancel this movie or we were not going to recast. Right. And so once you, a layperson on the street, attempt to tell the cast and creatives of a film what to do with their film, sight unseen, is when I have not only a problem with it, I just think you are foolish beyond measure. I think your whole basis is nonsense. And I think it was also so disgusting, because it's the capitalist move to recast T'Challa. Because of course Disney, the idea that Disney would not want to see more of a $1 billion franchise, it's like people were like, oh, they're just taking the black man out of the picture, is one of the most ignoramus ideas I've ever heard in my life. But it also goes along with the whole idea that Yahya is now going to have to face down because he's tasked as Wonder Man. And because he's tasked as Wonder Man, a traditionally white character, oh my God, he could have been Blue Marvel. They'll never give us a Blue Marvel film. They're just trying to give us straps and turn the white guys black. But to any kid growing up forever and always, Wonder Man will now be a black man, and they will see a black man on screen. And I'm sure if Yahya is a good enough actor and has enough say in this role due to his weight in Hollywood, he will make it as black as possible, because that'd be foolish. And it'd be foolish of Marvel not to. And they know that, because they
Nick
like
Fury.
Nick Fury, who is
Hawkman,
suddenly the blackest man on screen ever. And to any kid growing up in the last 20 years now.
That's Nick Fury. Sam L is Nick Fury. There's no way. Hawkman, hopefully this goes the way it's supposed to go.
It will, and Hawkman will be a black man.
Black Adam
will be whatever The Rock is.
Well, not Black Adam. racially ambiguous, okay? But no, I was referring to Aldous Hodge.
That was such a perfect setup. Thank you. Sorry. Getting back to T'Challa, and that's the thing, like with this without spoiling it all, this is what this movie is about, and it addresses the idea because it addresses the idea of just moving on like nothing happened. And I was just like, when that was so weird to me. And then even the idea of, well, we got the multiverse, we got Street Wars coming up, and then he could come in. Yeah, you could do that, but it ain't Chadwick, and it ain't T'Challa that we know. And it'd be kind of weird to the story that they're telling because things move on. Like, that's what people didn't want to understand. Because of the story that Marvel told, Wakanda would have had a 5-year absence without their king either way. When this nigga comes back, they're like, what the fuck, nigga? Hey, oh, shit, you alive? Oh, God. Damn, nigga, we gonna have to explain everything we've done in the last 5 years, bro. You know what I mean? Like, yo, okay, so, yeah, you know, you just might want to go retire, bro, because, you know, we kind of got this figured out. You know, so that would have been the story.
Yeah, but let's press forward because, like, again, they did what they had to do, and there's no appeasing everybody, right?
No, it was a no-win situation. That's what we were talking about.
However, based on what we saw, they did their thing. They did and I'm not. And let me be clear when I say this, that it wasn't an acquiesce. Like, they didn't acquiesce something. They did the best they absolutely could do within context of this situation.
Oh yes.
And one thing that they did do well, that I would say, is they tackled this head on.
Mm-hmm.
From like first fucking frame, they tackle the absence. You know, what happened to T'Challa? Where is he? They tackle it right away. And as Ben Amin says, then okay, now what now? We're not gonna act like nothing happened, but what do we do to move forward? It's always about progression, right? It's not about leaving behind. It's about respecting the past, respecting the people who came before you, expressing and showing your care for the impact they made in this world, and using that to elevate yourself to go forward.
Yes.
That's what this film is about. And that's what they said. Whether side on the movement you fall on doesn't matter. This is what all of this is about. How do we go forward?
Yes. And I think, like I say, in a no-win situation, they still pulled out a win. I don't think it's going to please everyone. But even me, who had, you know, I had feelings. I was like, well, I want to, like I've said this from the initial gate. If Ryan had been like, yo, we're recasting T'Challa, this is how we're going to honor him, we're going to keep the character going, I'd be like, all right, cool, can't wait to see the movie. You know, when he was like, yo, we're not doing it, I'm like, cool, can't wait to see the movie. But either way, I was starting to feel like, damn, I wonder how it'd be if, you know, T'Challa was still here. But
yeah, that's natural. But
that's natural.
To use that to dictate what happens.
No, I would never dictate what any creative does, because it's not my right. If I don't want to see it, I won't go see it. I'll leave it alone. I'm not going to make a whole petition about not seeing it. I don't give a fuck, especially when it comes to a black man, especially when it comes to someone who's not damaging, you know, our culture or our people. Like, and the idea that the absence of T'Challa damages Wakanda or makes it lesser is disrespectful to Wakanda itself, a country that in, you know, fantasy history has existed for what, thousands of years before this man, and will exist for thousands of years after. The forever country, you know, the Golden Land.
Yeah. Well, as I said before, this story is more sophisticated than the first film. It's more elevated. It focuses heavily on the women of Wakanda and the women that had been in and around T'Challa's life.
Mad.
It will make
people mad the first time.
It will make the people you expect to get mad.
Yeah.
And which I'm not thinking about them, right?
Cope.
I'm thinking. Go ahead.
Cope.
Okay. The people are gonna get mad about women and all that. Y'all gonna get mad. Who gives of them? Like, this film centers like what we actually wanted more of. This film absolutely centers the women of Wakanda. You see, we talk about Okoye, when you're talking about Nakia, when you talk all these people, including the new people that you see in the cast, when you look it up, like, they are centered and they are paramount to the story. And obviously Shuri, you know what I mean, being T'Challa's sister, like, paramount and central. And that is another just overarching theme within this film. And it's done really beautifully, and it's done in a balanced manner too. Like, it made sense. It didn't feel like pandering. It didn't feel like, oh, well, you know, women up front. Like, it didn't feel like none of that. I'm trying shit. This was naturally how it is. And Wakanda is is very maternal in nature anyway. So like it made sense that okay, the women are taking the lead in these stories.
Yes, it definitely made sense. I mean, I thought it made sense in the first film. I don't think that, and Ryan has said this too. It's like, why wouldn't T'Challa learn from the strong, beautiful women around him? But I felt like
The Dora Milaje.
Yeah, but people had a problem with that. Like in the first film, that
Your
he
life
learned.
is owed to these women.
Yeah, that he learned from his mom, that he learned from his sister, that he learned from Nakia, that he learned from other people around him. And it's like, well, that's how a character should grow, is learn from people. They just happen to be women. Normally characters learn from old men and you're happy with it. I get it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so with this, yes, it's much more of what I loved in the first film, because I thought, going back to the first film, the most important conversation in the first film takes place between Nakia and Okoye when they're talking about, do you serve the country or do you serve the king? You know, I thought
and they revisit that.
Yeah, and they
revisit
that. They revisit everything that's talked about in the first film from different lenses, from different angles, because there's different characters introduced. And since we're talking about things we like and different characters being introduced,
And different characters,
we might as well bring up my man's
Tina Huerta.
doing the Lord's work out here.
This man's a G.
This man.
And while I had my grievances about certain things that occurred in this film,
Yes.
I will say that his Namor goes fucking hard.
You know what's fucked up? I forgave him for all that shit.
That's fine. But I'm so mad. But no. He is fucking Namor, okay? Like the nuance of how he plays this role is incredible. And yes, you know, you have the representation there. Yes, you have all that stuff. Tina, oh my God. Like he went in. Like he did what needed to be done. Especially when you're talking about a character out of fucking nowhere. That most people have no understanding or care about. Like, well, why do I came here to see the blacks. Why, where you coming from? Like, no, he makes an impression amongst many. Where you fall on that spectrum of how you felt about the impression he made, that's personal.
I personally loved it. That's where it fell for me. I loved it.
You could be like, he was strong and I hated that nigga. And you might feel that way. You might be like, yo, he was strong, but I can't stand that nigga. Or you might be like, yo, he's my, that's my dog. Like, I don't know.
There's going to be varied impressions of him, just like there was of Killmonger, and of other characters in the first film. People are going to have all kind of different feelings about him. And me personally, when I walked out of the film, once again, I was like, I don't know how I feel about that. Because I didn't know
either.
Namor's another of those characters who I knew from as a kid, and I grew up reading his solo series. But his solo series was much further in his character development, where, he wasn't the wild out boy that he grew up being, that like when he first started. Because when he first started, he was a wild out, fuck you surface dwellers, fuck all y'all, and I'll kill anybody. That was him all time.
Yeah. But the other characters, I feel like
wait, I got to go back to this man real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, because I do want to say that about him. Like, I want to say how the Talokan culture, which is basically how they represent Atlantis in the film, is incredible.
It's beautiful.
It's so beautifully done. It's so beautifully evoked. The little subtle things about the Talokani, I think is how they go with the group of them. The Talokanil are so sick. I love Namor. I love the Tuma. I just love the whole look of the underwater city that we get to see, all the underwater culture. And then Namor is who you thought he should be, because he is that fuck the surface. I'm about these 3/4 down here. Like, y'all got 1/4 up here. This is what I'm about.
The land. Yeah, and I own all of this.
And, anyone got beef with any of this, they got beef with me, and they gonna fuck and find out. So that's Namor from the comics, and sometimes too. So that's why I really loved him. But like you said, he's also charismatic beyond belief, which is very Namor from the gate, as well. So it was seeing all this shit come to life. It was seeing them fucking wings on his feet flapping like hummingbirds and still being amazing. Like, this was a moment for me, dog.
Was he a civil rights leader?
Yeah, for his side.
But I'm just saying, that's what he invokes to me, that energy of a civil rights leader.
He's an extremist. He was definitely an extremist. And like later on when they went him to play nice, they attributed it to him having because of the imbalance and shit in his blood between being human and Atlantic being mixed blood.
Oh,
it would like
okay.
fuck his, that's why he was wilding out all the time. But
on the books and stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
and he's just wilding out, and he has reasons.
Besides him as a character, yes, the whole race of people, the way it was illustrated in the film, the way it came across, the way it was animated, because there's CG in there, and I mean even the way that people looked underwater, and I think that's the most beautiful thing, and the thing that can make it look real fake. Like, y'all remember Aquaman and people underwater? Like, it looks fairly cartoony, It doesn't look cartoony here. Like, it's people underwater and what that looks like, someone who is of that element. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And living and building an empire. And
I like
you get
Aquaman.
to see that. No, I like that. I thought it was alright.
I know what you mean, though.
When you compare them water scenes with this water scene,
there's certain
it's
scenes,
something different.
It's like because Aquaman has all that flowing hair and shit, so that shit just look ridiculous.
No, there was flowing hair. There was flowing hair here, but no, okay, Ben. I mean, I'm gonna send you a clip. Okay,
I haven't seen Aquaman in a while. I believe it.
You look at the underwater scenes from there, and you look at that. Now, it's not saying it looks bad. It just looks different.
Yeah.
Different energy than what we're seeing here.
This is definitely where I was like, okay, James Cameron got to bring something with Avatar too.
Oh yeah, your underwater, your water got to be right, bro.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna bring
be right.
something.
Nemo got to be right.
Yeah, I'm sure he gonna bring something, but he got to bring something because this got some beautiful underwater work.
Yeah, but no, I think culture and again, this also requires someone who has that cultural background. I believe they may have mixed things, but they invoke Mayan architecture and Mayan language and Christian cultures. They may have missed Aztec in there as well. Not 100% sure.
It's a lot of Mexican straight culture,
but it's
too, because
Mexican
because
historical
Mayan culture is like so basically vanished from the earth that it's hard to get direct interpretation. So they use a lot more Mexican and like you say, but it's also like how Wakanda is a bunch of
it's an amalgamation of a lot of African nations. Yeah, so you get basically that same approach here.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was done well and beautifully and respectfully. Someone else who watches who is of that culture says otherwise, let me know, and I want to be educated.
I want to know. Yeah, definitely. I definitely want to know on that.
Yeah. As far as the other characters is concerned, like I said, more of them. We get to see more of them. We get to see more of the women. We get to see more of their virtues and their values. You get to see more Okoye kicking ass, ain't taking no fucking names. You know what I'm saying? To another level, more than what you've seen thus far when it comes to any Dora Milaje stuff. You see a lot more like, God damn, these women is lethal, right? You get a lot more of that. You get more of Nakia being the war dog that she is and all the espionage and stuff that comes along with that. And then you see Shuri Letitia Wright surprised the hell out of me. And when I say that's because I did say that all of the street talk and the rumors did make me nervous. Like, oh my God, what's about to happen with this film? But as a character, Shuri, she did that. She did what needed to be done. And I appreciated everything she said, her movements, her energy. It was just clear that her dedication to this just went up a level, up several levels. And
that's another one that I really want to address because, like, I saw a lot of, oh my God, damn near the same amount of hate towards her that I saw, for Nate and Ryan when this movie was being created. All the, they should recast her. Oh, she's out there anti-vax. Oh, she's super Christian. Like, y'all ain't all got issues. Like, everybody ain't got stupid opinions. And also, like, these ain't just rumors that you heard. Like, we know people like someone who I love, Shorty from Lost, who's the Wasp. We know she was at anti-vax rallies. Like
Angelina Lilly?
Yes, she was straight up at them joints. And people ain't calling for her head.
Well, they did once people found out, but it wasn't
not like
widespread like that.
Yeah, but it's a real quick
people
call.
Forgot. People were like, she's
white.
Then it died.
Oh, she's white. Yeah.
It died off, but I hear people did say something, but it died off.
Oh, she's white. Yeah. Look, let's keep it real. You know what I mean? Because that's what it becomes. And it's also a lot of us attacking our own people. And we do that much quicker than white people will. White people be like, nah, bro. Rolling Stones, can molest any kid they want. They still put out Rolling Stone music. Yeah.
Oof, okay. What else about Shuri? Anything else about Shuri?
But back to Letitia.
No, it was just that was a lot, so I didn't want to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm leaving it at that. That's all we got to go. That's done.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say on that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
what else about Shuri?
We'll bleep that name of that band out because you put any band name in there, it don't matter. It's just trying to be the same result. So, What about Letitia's? What I'm gonna say, she like once
Yes.
again, she had a lot of weight on her shoulders, and she fucking carried it. You know, carried it in a way like you
She
said.
carries.
I
She
didn't
doesn't
think
isn't the
she
only one to
could.
carry him, but she carries.
Yes, I
She
didn't think she
carries.
could, and she carries in a different way. And a lot of people were like, "The Shuri the first film is," and I'm like, "Well, this ain't the Shuri the second film, fam. This is a whole
Bro,
different woman."
This is a different Shuri, and she had no choice but to step up because of the real life changes that happen and how they're being translated into the film, the second film, the follow up to the first film. It's all being translated, and she has so much responsibility, and it just goes back. It's like a catch-22. It's like, God damn. Once again, as Black women, we are born with when I say born, not born as in birth, but given, right? We have to hold so much weight and responsibility, and people just give us so much vitriol, and it's just like, give me some grace.
Mm-hmm.
I can't give me some grace. No, so I can't. I'm really, I know, yes, strong Black women, blah. I'm not strong right now. You know what I mean? I'm going through some shit. I need help. And you see that. And I mean, as a character, yes, she carries. It's also, though, you also see the vulnerabilities there. You see the holes that are poked in there, and you see, yo, I need help. I need assistance. I need support. And I think she characterized that well within the confines of this story. And again, I just really felt proud of Letitia after this film, and then of course where she took Shuri the character.
Yeah, no, I'm super proud of Letitia. I thought she just handled everything that, like you said, so well. I think Shuri as a character grew so much in the time that we haven't seen her. And in this film, she grows even more and goes on a whole journey of her own. And I love the journey that she goes on.
Character arc.
And
she has an arc in
yeah,
this bitch.
And she has a rite of passage and everything that you would want from someone who has to pretty much take over, lead, and center piece of this film. And
yep.
I think she does it with, joy, with respect and love, man. And that's all you can ask. Yeah. And like I say, it was so much on her shoulders. Like, it's an impossible weight. So I had to be like, all right, well, now, whether or not you're the Black Panther going forward, you are now the center of this film that was once Chadwick Boseman, this $1 billion franchise. You're now the center of it. What's up?
So
shooting's 2 weeks.
You ready to step up, nigga? Yeah, man. You
that would have been me.
Crying, screaming, and throwing up. You want me to do what?
I'm in a ball. That would have been, that meme where they come get the kid in prison and wake his ass up. That would have been me first day of set, nigga.
Oh, my Lord. Get it up. We also get to see newcomer Riri Williams. We do get to finally see. There you go, relax. We get to see Ironheart. Now, like I said, there's some of her characterizations was a little too overacting.
I gotta see it again.
Some of the characterization, no, I'm gonna repeat that. I still feel that way. Okay. Some of the characterization was a little bit too much of overacting. However, as an introduction to the character, I thought it was still solid.
Yeah.
I'm happy getting to see that. Like I said, everyone was thinking in their heads, yo, we get to see these two smart ass Black science women together. You get that. You get that and more. You get backstory. You get understanding of who Ironheart is, where she came from, why she's even involved in Wakanda in the first place. Like, you get to see all that stuff.
Yeah. I got to see it again, but that was definitely my first feeling too. I felt it was there was parts with Riri Williams that was just a bit, overdone. Like, we gonna let you know this is Riri Williams right here, like.
But overall, Dominique, though, I think she's a likable.
Yes.
Dominique's portrayal still makes Riri a likable character.
Yes.
And with time and being more acquainted with the character and having a story of her own, I think we're gonna be on an even better path with
And
Riri.
it seems like they're telling a really ill story with Ironheart, like where it should be like tech versus magic. Because like the main villain of Ironheart is going to be the Hood, and the Hood is definitely magical and perhaps Mephisto influenced. And today there was another casting rumor confirmation that a Black woman is playing a student of Doctor Strange's from the comics. So it seems to really be leading up to they're doing this whole magic.
Wait, when you say
versus
Mephisto, is this some more?
No, this
WandaVision
one is
bullshit?
getting real.
Or is this like for real, for real?
The Hood is definitely in the comics. The Hood gets his powers from Dormammu, but it seems Dormammu. But it seems like they're gonna flip it because they've already used him, and that's for the whole what's his name? Rumors. Sacha Baron Cohen. Sacha Baron Cohen.
What about him?
That he's rumored to play Mephisto. Like in this, I think he's cast in Ironheart in an unknown role, and
it's a very tricky, slippery man. So yes, I could see it happening.
I could definitely see him being Mephisto. He looks like him with some red makeup on.
He's a good character actor, and I mean, Sasha, by virtue of his work, like you see, like he can be anything.
Yes,
he can be anything or anybody. So yeah,
and he can definitely be a smooth ass devil if he wanted to be, and that'd be Mephisto in certain scenes too, like Mephisto in a nice all 3-piece suit. Okay. Yes. Oh, look at the comments. Amazing.
Angela Bassett as Ramonda, regal as ever, beautiful, amazing, gorgeous, all that. There's more. M'Baku, he is he stole some of the scenes from me sometimes with his comedy, because again, as I mentioned, there is a lot of grief and solemnness, but he comes in and he just cuts the tension with his words. It's great.
He's that nigga at the funeral who be like, yeah, well, that nigga was an asshole anyway, you know. Y'all knew.
He's the one saying the off-color comment. Yeah, it's like, all right,
remember when he fucked your cousin, though, homie? You know what I mean? Like, I know he was the king dog, but he did fuck your cousin, bro. Don't lie. You know what I mean? Like, don't
remember when I threw that nigga off the waterfall? Yeah. Y'all remember that?
Remember when that nigga got thrown off the waterfall, nigga? I was about to be king, nigga.
Remember I was this close to being king? Like he had that energy in the first film, and he has more of that energy this film, and it works. It makes sense for me. I love M'Baku. It's fantastic. And then again, you see more integration of him, because I felt like in some respects he was kind of on the outside, but like he's being more integrated into the main. And of course that was this whole Jabari tribe situation where they were like, "Fuck y'all" anyway. But you get to see more of him interacting with the rest of the cast. And yeah, just the way Wakanda looks overall, like just more like I still felt like I don't know what that feeling is like. Not exactly the same, but similar when we watched the first movie and they go through the portal, or they go through the force fields, and then you see the city of Wakanda. Like I felt that way in a different way, but I felt that way. Like, oh, yo, we back here, we back at the most powerful nation, and this and that and that. Like I felt that, and the imagery is still on point. The citizens, what we got to see of the citizens and how they live, like. That shit is on point. I want to see a lot more of that, actually.
Yes.
A lot more.
That was my biggest complaint.
What's going on?
Is that we did not, for me at least of our first viewing, I wanted way more culture of Wakanda than we got. I wanted to see something else that we hadn't seen, like maybe an exploration of the River Tribe. But it's not their story, so I get it.
They don't have the time to do.
And they got a lot on their plate. Once again, impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I can't be mad at that. But that's just something I want to see. But again, all right, this goes back because I saw people making this complaint today about Ryan Coogler. He hasn't done nothing else, and they haven't approved nothing else in that era, because they released a whole Ryan Coogler is the man documentary today, a little short, Marvel did, about how dope he is. And now people are like, hey, they haven't approved nothing.
He's alright.
No, they're saying like they're mad at them kissing his ass when they haven't done anything else for Wakanda, like tell more Black Panther T'Challa stories. Anyway, that's what I was actually somebody's tweet. And they were also talking about how they haven't seen the things like World of Wakanda, which is coming. And from what I understand, Ryan Coogler is currently producing, or they're in like the early stages of development, 2 separate other Wakandan related shows. Like there's an Okoye show and a Wakanda show.
World of Wakanda show, right? Yeah, so you can actually see the citizenry
and the different tribes and everything that we want to see. So it's like, once again, and these things take time, man. The Woman King was announced the weekend of Black Panther dropping.
Yeah, I remember that. And I've been following and tracking that damn film for so long, and I remember, and like every time any little inkling came out, I'm like, it's what it's been 4 or 5 years
since the weekend
since the
dropped
first
is when
mention.
like that Monday is when they signed the deal. Because Black Panther made all the money, and they're like, all right, Woman King, let's sign that deal.
All the black stuff,
Green
go.
like that, yeah. But it still took them 4 years because even in Hollywood, even after all of that, they're still gonna be like, let's wait. You know, oh well, do we have to make it all black? You know, can we have a white person and a Woman King? You know, like that. You know, and that takes another year of arguing, and then your movie takes another year to come out.
Yeah.
That's how things go.
It takes time, y'all, and also I think people gotta remember lots of times by the time you see this movie, the actors been did this, they've been filmed it, the crew been built that set. It's more than likely it's been at least a year since they've even touched this stuff. So like, you know, or 6 months to a year. So now like by the time they're coming back doing interviews, doing all this, they've been past that. They probably shooting something new. So
they're probably
like,
shooting their Core A series.
so all this stuff, you know, all the yaya everybody's talking is like, well, you don't know what I'm doing right now because, you know, they can't speak on it, NDAs and stuff. But they probably working on what you're complaining about. They probably working on.
Yeah,
So,
and it's like
yeah.
even things like people keep talking about how, oh, we'll never see another intelligent black man because they're making all the intelligent. It's just like when they were first saying that because
Kang
they had
is
Shuri.
not an intelligent black.
I mean,
Yeah.
you know, one of the most.
I mean, he's not black, quote unquote, but
I mean, he's black as fuck to me, and you
he's
know,
black as fuck to me, right?
and when Shuri is, you know, I remember when people thought that Shuri would somehow become Ironheart because there can't be two intelligent black people in the, you know, black women, especially in the MCU. And now we see both of them, and then people are talking like, oh, they cast Yaya's that. They won't have Blue Marvel. And it's like, why wouldn't they?
Why
They got
not?
the rest of the Marvel.
What did the little Taco Bell girl say? Why not both?
Yeah, why wouldn't they have, you know, they've already got the rest of the Marvels. Why wouldn't they have Blue Marvel, a popular character of the last 20 years that they can make money off of? They don't care that he's a black man who's intelligent, dog. They care if it's going to make money. And it's going to make money. So it's coming. We just don't know it yet. I think I keep predicting that Blue Marvel shows up in the Marvel's film. Like, I don't see why not. Like, a quick cameo, you know, dude, Dr. Brad Shear, something. You have the Marvel's film. Why not have Blue Marvel at least, you know, mentioned?
Michaela Cole, she's one of the newer people who are showed up. She looks amazing.
Yep.
She does well. Don't expect every other scene to be Michaela. It's not like that.
No.
But you know, she's part of the mix. And also I just wanted to make a special mention to
them guns.
Not even a mention.
Can we mention them guns? Because Michaela made me want to do more push-ups. I'll say that.
Oh yeah, everybody looked good. Everybody was flexed. You know what I'm saying?
Michaela, boy, she was brolic.
Yeah, but Michaela's also just gorgeous everywhere. Just everywhere, she's just gorgeous. But I wanted to make a special particular note about the costuming. All hail Ruth Carter. God damn them fits. When I say the level of drip is too goddamn high in this film, like you thought the drip was good in the first film. This drip is, as Ben Amin would say, this shit is silly in this film. In the second film, in Wakanda Forever, like the fits, the suits, the costuming, the surprises, the shit I'm not gonna say that you get to see in this. Like it's like, oh my god, like it's eye candy, and it's the seeing the love and the impact of like that medium, you know, the medium of fashion, and seeing that translated onto a character that, you know, you may have seen a drawing of them in the book, but then to see that in real life, to see the textures in real life, or when I say real life, I mean on a real life human. To see those textures, to see that type of material you use and how it flows in somebody's body, how it falls in somebody's body, and to see that on different sized people. When you talk about the main characters, you talk about supporting characters, when you're talking about the citizens of Wakanda, like it's just fire. And when you couple all that with everything Ben Amin had I just said in the last like 30 minutes, I just once again felt an extreme level of pride after watching this film. I told you I had a lot of different emotions, but that was one of the days I still felt pride. Like, yo, we back to Wakanda. I'm back a citizen of Wakanda once more, bro.
Yeah. And Ruthie Carter not only did her thing with Wakanda, but like we talked about before, the Talokan, and their design is absolutely...
Oh my goodness. The trailers don't do it justice how incredible these people look.
They've never looked this cool in the comics.
Everybody looks cool as fuck, bro.
Like Atlantis always look cool.
Oh my god.
And Atlanteans always look cool. But this is that next level of ill shit right
next
here.
Level.
You know, Namor coming out the water like you see it in the trailer with the feathers on the headdress is just
It looked different. It looked different on the big screen.
Everything looks so different. I mean,
when
obviously,
you see it,
I loved it though. Just oof.
Yeah.
I thought that looked ill in the trailer. I was ready for it.
Yeah. And when we talk about the effects, the visual effects, special effects on point, nothing. I'm trying to think of, did I thought
the
something
first film
wonky?
had a lot of wonky, especially the last battle with Killmonger. It's to this day referenced as super wonky.
Yeah, but this film, I don't recall anything particularly wonky that was a problem. Like everything just looked like they took their time. I mean, not to say they didn't take their time the first time, but like you can really tell like they really was like, yo, hey, let's fix this or let's adjust this slightly. I just don't recall any that look wild to me. I don't know if you do, but
I don't recall it. But once again, I got to see it again because the first time, the first time I saw Black Panther when they started fighting at the end, I was kind of like, all right, because it was
cats fight. The cats
because it just looked silly to me. Looks like a bunch of CDI. They were doing too many flips and shit for no reason. It's just pointless. Keep it grounded, keep them going at it. I don't really feel that happened in this film. I feel like most of the fights were, like keeping people grounded, keeping things in order. I don't think I don't think these are like, I don't think the focus is the action in these films,
No, the focus not the action, but the action. There are fantastical elements, but it makes sense within the character.
And
understand,
I
like
thought the action,
there aren't characters doing shit that you're like that don't look good.
And I thought the action in the first film, like a lot of people were like, "Oh, Ryan can't do action." I'm like, well, one, Creed is incredible action, and then like the car chase in the first film was really great. I love
that
everything.
Car chase is top notch. It's one of the top.
There's some more great car chases. There's like you say, people showing up in ill fits and fighting, and like just Namor on screen to me was a big challenge because, like I said, you have him with these tiny wings, and this man is kicking mucho ass.
No. That clip y'all see in the trailer times that by 1,000.
Yeah, and so that was a big challenge for me because I was even worried when I saw the trailer because I was like, oh God, don't let him be like Yoda where he's like chum 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 everywhere and has no weight to him. It doesn't feel real. Like when Yoda was flipping around. No, he feels real.
He feels real. He feels dangerous. He feels powerful.
Super dangerous.
He feels all of those things. And also that's how I felt about everybody when they were in their action scenes. Like what made sense for that character or their suit or their powers or whatever looked good and made sense within the context of whatever the action was. Yes. So I enjoyed it. And music, sound effects on point.
Ludwig Göransson once again doing his
Ludwig Göransson with the score.
Ludwig.
When
I talked to him, I asked him.
I was just using the pronunciation. Ludwig, because of his culture. But
little drop right there. I did talk to him, and we'll be dropping that.
Yeah. He the score is amazing. The score is amazing, and again, that was one of the also the highlights of the first film, the music and the scoring. And when we said the music, we're talking about a couple of different things. We're talking about the music you see in the film. That's like the scoring part of it, and then there's also the music of like some of the songs that they may play on the trailers or they play in the credits. That music was hard, especially the one that was inspired by Mexican cultures or the one that blends culture. Oh my God, them songs! I was looking at the credits like, who did that?
And that's what Ludwig was talking about when I talked to him. Is that the problem is that Mayan music, they wanted to be inspired by Mayan music, but it's very difficult because that's just gone, due to thousands of years of history and how the Mayans were eliminated. So because of that, they went to Mexico and they got a lot of traditional people, just like when the first one, they went to Senegal first. And I didn't know this, I was just walking they have a documentary on ABC about it right now. It's a guitarist singing that song when they first fly into Africa. It's a Senegalese guitarist, and he's singing and he's actually singing about, and it's crazy, that it just sounds like chanting to us. We don't know the language, but he's singing about the death of a elephant and the other elephant coming in to replace the elephant.
Oh, in the first film.
Because that's when he's drumming home. So I can't wait to really find out what these artists are singing about in their tongues and what the story behind the music and everything is.
There's this song with Mexican influence that's played at the end, during the end credits, where it went so hard, and I'm like, I'm so glad we're gonna see it again. So I was
so shocked the first time.
Just write who wrote it and the artist and all that, and download it real quick.
Oh, that soundtrack about to be out by this weekend.
Oh yeah,
it'll be good.
It's so good.
I can't wait till I bump the life out of that first soundtrack, dog. Bump the life, not the Kendrick joint, which I loved, But I mean the straight up score, I bumped the life out that joint.
Mm-hmm. The score was cool. Yeah, but I also like the soundtrack. So the soundtrack that Kendrick did.
I bumped the life out of both of them shits. Nigga. Like, what you talking about?
Yeah.
That's what I mean. They was equal opportunity bump. Like, yo, I'll tell you, that's when I was in LA.
I'm not sure who's in charge of the soundtrack this time around.
I don't know if they're doing the same. They haven't announced yet if they're doing like the same thing where one artist is doing, like Kendrick did that. That was all TDE.
Right. Well, I mean, you have Rihanna. Everyone knows now that Rihanna does she does 2 songs.
Yep.
And they're fucking beautiful. Once context is king, especially in the context of the scene, the film where it comes in, I'm freaking crying. I know a lot of people who had no context of this, they just heard this slow song. I don't know why y'all expected Pon to replay, like why that was the first thing she was gonna come out with. Okay, whatever, like. But
right for this movie,
before this, no.
Pon the replay, like that just something pop on at the end of the movie, like made no sense.
What year are we in? So, but no, it's her voice has matured.
Please
so
don't stop
too.
the music. Like imagine that be coming on at the end of the joint. Like
her voice has matured.
This ain't
so
Black
much.
Adam.
And during her off time, and the fact that you haven't heard anything new from Rihanna for so long, that probably also was why it was also extra impactful. But she just sounds gorgeous, and I mean, I thought she sounded amazing just without the context, like just listening on the street, like if you just saw it on Twitter or whatever, or heard it on Twitter. But it's particularly beautiful within the elements of the film, as well as the second song that she sings.
Yep.
Yeah. And like I said, all this is already public knowledge. I'm not saying nothing extra. But yeah, Ben, this film, I loved it. I obviously will recommend it. I think it's a great film. I think it was exciting. It hit me in my feels clearly for a variety of reasons. It angered me. It's still angry for particular reasons. At the same time, I still want to see it again, right? I still feel like, I'm going to still probably see this film like 4 or 5 times, just like I did the first film. And Ben, mentioned we're going to be at Crown Wakanda this week on Thursday, November 10th at Nighthawk Cinema. So we're going to be able to see with a whole brand new crowd of people who have no idea what to expect. And I cannot wait until after it's over because we're going to have a pre and post party. And at the post party, we're going to have a conversation. And I know people are going to be screaming and carrying on when
we might just have to do it right in the theater, right? We might just have to pull out the mics and talk to them if we can.
We might do some
after
on
that?
camera.
We got to find out.
Maybe we do some, well, maybe not Brett, but we do like a version of Brett where we like, so what did you think?
Yeah.
And people just going to wild out on camera. But
people be crying. They ain't going to be able to talk. That's the thing. That we got to wait till we get out of the theater.
You're either going to be crying or like, I want a revolution. You're going to be one way or another, really.
Or both.
But, yeah.
Why not both? Again.
Why not both? But yeah, man, this is an amazing, incredible job Ryan and team have done. Incredible job with the cast. Incredible job with the music, the scoring, the effects, the writing, the story, the look and feel, the wardrobe. Everything is top notch. This is where all the Disney money goes. Okay.
Yeah, and this definitely ends Phase 4 on the best note they could have done because I thought the Phase 4 movies have definitely been lacking. I thought the TV shows have been great. I thought the movies have been like, whatever, for the most part. And I think this is like the best ending they could have done. And at the same time, I really enjoyed it because once again, like just like the first Black Panther, while it's directly connected to the events that have happened in the Marvel Universe and everything set up for the future of the Marvel Universe, it's not like, well, guess what? Here's Kang now, or well, you got the multiverse and here's your other T'Challa popping in, or whatever. It's like, let's tell this story that we have to tell about Wakanda and what happened with the blip, what happened with T'Challa. And they do that over this 2.5 hours. And it's not about, certain things that we've hoped for. Me personally, I've hoped for. Some of those things that I've talked about on the pre-show, you can go watch that, if you haven't seen it yet, certain things I hoped for did not happen. I won't reveal which of those things didn't happen, but they didn't. And
that's okay.
I probably thought the film was better for it, actually. Because it centers... Yes, because once again, that is something that I was even falling victim to. It's like, no, I need to see what's coming next instead of seeing what's going on now. And I think this film is more of the now, and that's what we needed from a Marvel film because Thor Ragnarok is, if nothing, I mean, Love and Thunder is nothing but like, let's do a bunch of tropes for 2 hours and then what's next?
Please don't remind me. I was so disappointed.
So disappointed. And Black Widow is like, well, we missed this chance up before, but what's next? And I can't remember what the other movie was. Well, Spider-Man No Way Home was like, look how awesome we are, and what's next? So this was the
like
first
No Way
one.
Home, but...
I love No Way Home, but at the same time, it is a lot of look how awesome we are. Which has been a lot.
They are awesome.
But that's been a lot.
There's 3 of them.
I know, but that's been a lot of that since the since Endgame, because Endgame was definitely look what the fuck we just did over 10 years.
Oh, but they could say that shit.
I know, and they could say it then.
Warranted.
Once. You ain't gotta say it. You ain't gotta say it every movie after that.
Now it's not a humble brag no more. Now you're
now it's
asshole.
like, and you're not saying anything new. Oh, Doctor Strange. That was the other one. Let's be a bunch of, and then look what's coming next.
Doctor Strange was on some other shit, bro.
Yeah, and then look what's coming next.
Multiverse of Madness, I mean. But
and then look what's coming next. So it's like, come on, man. And this is the first one where it's not look what's coming next.
No, it's very much rooted in the present.
This.
It's very much rooted in you have to deal with what's happening now. And I think that's why it's so going to be for people who watch, and why it was for us emotional, because it's forcing you to sit with your feelings and analyze and process. Straight up.
In ways that I wasn't ready for the first time I saw it, and we'll see how it goes the second time, because the first time I definitely was not ready to analyze all those things.
I'm sure I'm going to cry. I cried. The first 30 seconds I was crying.
Oh, I cried.
Maybe less.
The first time I saw the first one, I mean, there was not a time I saw the first one in theaters where I didn't cry. So I'm pretty sure it's going to happen the same way with this one. I cried in this one. I'm going to cry again.
No, and that's what I'm talking about for Wakanda Forever. The first 30 seconds
I cried
in tears.
Yeah.
And it was something. It's always something that makes
but I balled out when
cry.
I watched Endgame, so.
Yeah. Oh, but that's just because you're just so fucking happy.
No,
like,
I ball out at the sad moments. Like when the first time I cried in Endgame when I saw it in the theaters was when Ant-Man finds Cassie and says, "You're so big." I lost it.
Oh. No, when I was crying.
God.
No, when I was crying on Endgame was when he said on your left. When all them niggas showed
I cried
up,
then too, but
I was in fucking tears. Like, I can't believe this is great.
Yeah, no, the first time was when he finds Cassie and says, "You're so big," and I lost it because I was like, God damn, the loss that man.
Oh yeah, anything involving children.
Yeah, I lost it. I lost it right then. And then there was moments way before that, but I lost a lot in that, and I lost a lot in this, and it's gonna happen again. So get ready.
I think we gave our no spoiler impression of Wakanda Forever. Thank you everybody for listening to us. We hope you enjoyed what you heard. Please leave your comments below. You're watching on the YouTube. What? Not the toilet tube, but the YouTube. Sometimes it is toilet tube. But on the YouTubes, you can find us ForAllNerds TV. That's how you get to see us visually in stunning melanated color. Make sure you are also subscribed on your favorite podcast platform. That's typically the first time you'll be able to hear us first if you are on the podcast. It might be a little delayed elsewhere. So we encourage you to make sure you are subscribed on your favorite podcast platform. Follow ForAllNerds to hear views from the 616. Again, that is our MCU focused podcast that you're listening to right now. We also have other podcasts such as Castle Black, where we talked about Game of Thrones. Probably gonna talk about some other stuff on there as well. And of course, as mentioned, the main ForAllNerds brand, as you see on this beautiful tee. Speaking of tees, we do have merch. Ben Hameen is wearing a particularly special one that is brand spanking new. And you can get that on our brand spanking new merch page. If you actually go to ForAllNerds.com, you can see our new Shopify page, which has this featuresque all names of Black heroes. We have T'Challa, we have Jon Stewart, we have Aurora Monroe. We have some hitters on there.
We got Riri Williams, making her debut. We got Jon Stewart, Aurora Monroe, Virgil Hawkins, Status Shock, Monica Rambeau, Miss Photon, Captain Marvel herself, and Mary Jewett McCabe, Miss Vixen. Mari,
Vixen, So we have this one. We also have some other...
Also, Cal Duran, Aquaman, shout out to
Cal Duran, yep. We also have some other different name t-shirts. Like we have one of all the...
Original Avengers.
The original Avengers. We have the Heralds of Galactus. That shit's fire. And you can get it in a variety of colors, variety of types, whether it's a sweatshirt, t-shirt, whatever. We also have some of our other designs up there. We're going to put more up there, but we're going to start telling people, hey, start going there, ForAllNerds.com. If you want to support or get really cool merch, Yo, some fire stuff on the way. Ben and I just saw a new design today that just blew us away. So we can't get ready. We are just really excited to give you that.
Speaking of those new designs, while you're there at ForAllNerds.com, and everyone, please, especially all the listeners, all the long-time fans, if you haven't seen it yet, please go check it out. ForAllNerds.com, and while you're there, leave your email for us because we will be blasting out coupons, codes, new merch, exclusives, all kind of stuff. We're gonna have drops that'll be like, this is available for today, maybe.
Yeah,
and then you're going to have to get it, because we're going to have some stuff on there that, we can't have sitting up there long.
We're going to have some stuff that the bots don't like. So we got to
keep moving.
Tell y'all in advance. Yeah.
So make sure you sign up. Go to ForAllNerds.com right now. I'll drop your email in there. Thank you so much for the support. As soon as we dropped this joint, people was already copping joints, and it's amazing, and we love it. So thank you so much. ForAllNerds.com.
Make sure you're also following us on the Twitches, the twitch.tv/ForAllNerds to see us live. We're coming back heavy because we got the meats, as they say in R&B. We got it on lock, and it looks beautiful. If you were one of the lucky ones last week, you saw Benjamin and I go live and actually record a full show live in Living Clever. Shout out to everyone who made it. Appreciate you. Love you. So twitch.tv/ForAllNerds. Make sure you're subscribed there. Follow us. That's free. If you subscribe to us, you get access to all the cute and really exclusive emojis that you can use. You also get some other special access. And let me tell you, if you have Amazon Prime, which most of you do, or maybe you're using somebody else's, make sure you link your account to Twitch, and that way you get a free subscription every month. So please do that, and then subscribe to ForAllNerds. You don't have to pay a thing. There you go. And follow us. Follow us on socials at ForAllNerds, at Views from 616 on the Twitters, at Castle Black Pod. Myself at Tatiana King, Mr. at DJ Benjamin. Make sure if you have questions, braps, whatever it may be, you want to give us some money, we appreciate it. Contact at ForAllNerds.com. And speaking of money, thank you to our financial fam, the people who all make the world go around for us. Without you, we would not be as professional as we are. Patreon.com/ForAllNerds. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you very much to everyone, all the new patrons that have joined recently. We are giving you exclusives, like exclusive shows that no one else can see, literally just for you, me and him, and you, me and I, or whatever you wish you want to say. It's just y'all. You get exclusive access, you get gifts, just a whole bunch of cool stuff. So make sure, patreon.com/ForAllNerds.
Yep. Also, if you're hearing this like right now when we drop it, make sure you go out and vote today. Obviously, it's important every time, but it seems to be extra important this time because people talk about the fall of democracy, and there's a lot of election deniers and a lot of also nonsense we've all seen in the news. We're not going to go much further than that. And also, as always, influencing your local elections is much more important than influencing the larger elections because the local elections affect you, and hopefully they're not as corrupted by corporations and everything as the big name politicians are. They only got so much money.
You'd be surprised.
I know,
You'd
right?
be surprised, but vote. Vote, y'all. Voting,
shout out
voting
to Mr.
matters.
Osei. Hope you getting some of that.
Voting matters. Make sure y'all
from the
vote,
good
please.
people. You know what I mean?
Please.
But yeah, make sure you vote, all that. And also, if you hear this, nowish or in the next couple of days, and you're in New York City, you might still be able to get a ticket for Crown Wakanda.
It's looking kind of scarce right now.
It's looking kind of scarce, but you might be able to get one. We are approaching sold out. But what you can do, even if you aren't in New York City, is you can support our youth screening, which features children from around New York City. We got Super Vibes DJ Academy attending. We got some other groups involved. We need your support for that. So hit us up on the Eventbrite and on GoFundMe. Crown Wakanda on either one. Type in Crown Wakanda. Comes right up. If you can support, we love it. And once again, thank you to everyone who has already done that. Tell your friends, spread the word. Like we say, tickets almost sold out. It's gonna be a stupid, beautiful event, man. I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm so happy that we're almost at sold out, and it's gonna be lit up in there. And thank you to everybody who's bought a ticket. You are guaranteed an event. I'll probably be live on Twitch tonight. By then this will be tomorrow, but we'll be on there a lot more. Anything else before we get up out of here?
We love you. We see you
man.
very soon.
A lot of big things coming. Big things popping. Indubitably.